Hello everyone, this is Gary with your cards of the day, and I'm back after a very challenging week, during which I've spent most of the week visiting my father in hospital. As some of you may know, I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail about that now, other than to say if anyone wants to know what's happened, feel free to message me privately. The good news is that he is out of hospital and we're trying to sort of get back to something like normality. But of course that just meant that other things, for example my videos, were just completely put to one side during that week. So I do apologise for my absence in a sense, but it was unavoidable. Now, today, as my first reading back, we have a day 5 numerologically, which is an interesting energy really. We're on a day ruled by the sun, so it's perhaps quite an optimistic day to resume doing these readings. And the day 5 equates to the Hierophant in the Major Arcana, which really to me feels very much like a day of trying to have faith. There's a lot of structure and solidity to the Hierophant, but for me the word that is being shouted at me at the moment is faith. So again, that's quite an interesting energy to have today, for me in particular, but I think also generally. Now, the decks that I'm using today, I'm doing the reading in a slightly different way. I'm going to do this as a kind of a pyramid, a kind of Grand Trine reading, if you like, because I'm going to start with 2 lower cards here. We have the Wildwood Tarot and the Robin Wood Tarot. And then the capstone of the pyramid is going to be here, and this is kind of in a sense, an outcome or a desired destination in some ways, and this is the Druidcraft Tarot. So I'm doing something very kind of Celtic based today. And our first card today is the 9 of Arrows, which has the tagline Dedication. Now it's worth explaining that arrows in the Wildwood equate to the suit of air, and that's obviously swords in other decks, so we essentially have a 9 of swords. Now they do reassign the meanings quite a lot in the Wildwood Tarot. All of that aside, what really shouts at me here is the phrase picking up the pieces, and this very much feels certainly where I am at the moment, and I feel that it is something that we could all find ourselves doing at this particular moment in time. We're still in the grips of Mercury retrograde until the 8th of August. So if things can go awry, they will have gone awry. If they can go wrong, they will have done. And that certainly has been my experience this past week. So here it does feel very much like we've got an energy of kind of things having been all over the place, and what we're trying to do here is gather it all back up, gather it all together, and sort of get on with it. There's also an awful lot of green in this card, which really is giving me a feeling of us trying to kind of nurture and heal ourselves as well, in addition to this kind of, like I say, picking up the pieces. So that is the feeling that I get very strongly from that card. Now, our second card is another happy little chap. This is the 10 of Swords. So in a sense, this is numerologically one beyond the previous card. And this has this rather charming image of somebody who is well and truly dead. They have 10 swords stuck in their back. That's it, pretty much. But there is a sunrise coming over the hill, and the feeling here very much is, perhaps in some ways, a kind of a hopeful one, that the worst is behind us, that the catastrophic kind of events that we may have been experiencing are done with. It's done its worst, in a sense. So that's why I say I think it's a kind of a hopeful feeling, really, because it's never good to tempt fate with these things, but that is very much the feeling I get from this card, that it's done with now. There's an interesting aside as well, numerologically, which is we have a card 9 here, which is about completion and, in a sense, endings. And then we have a 10-1 here, which indicates new beginnings and new possibilities. So there is an interesting progression forward from one to the other. And our final card for today is a much, much happier card in a way. And this is the card of Rebirth, which is the equivalent of the Judgement card in a standard tarot deck. And this is a number 20. So interestingly, numerologically, here we have a 2. A 22. So this very much feels like where we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to that place of rebirth. We're trying to get to that place of just reinventing ourselves, reinventing our environment, our situation, moving things forward, trying to get to that happier place where finally we are through the difficulties and we're moving things ahead. And again, we have the green colour very, very strongly here. And I'm also quite drawn to this carving, which I think you can probably just about see here in the stonework, the spirals, which does make me think of the fact that, generally speaking, life goes in cycles. We're going to have these difficult times, but ultimately we have to just get through them. And again, that has very much been my experience this last week, and perhaps continues to be, certainly as indicated here. So just to do a quick recap, we have the 9 of arrows, dedication, to me indicating picking up the pieces, gathering things together that have been flung far and wide, trying to get things back in order and get some, in a sense, kind of control back over things. It's also possible that our thoughts have been spread far and wide and we're trying to really get a grips with them. It's also a card 9, which is a card of completion, endings, things coming to a head, really. We then have the 10 of swords, which is a progression on in the same suit, in actual fact, of things having got to being pretty much as bad as they can possibly be, and now we're looking to those new beginnings. We're looking to things getting better, and in a sense, as the sort of the Yaz and the Plastic Population song used to say, the only way is up. Numerologically, we have a 10-1, which is all about fresh starts, beginnings, in a sense starting over. And then we have a further progression with the card 20, Rebirth, which is where we're ultimately trying to get to. We're trying to get to a place of just things being happier, more settled, reinvented, reinvigorated. And we have a card 2, which interestingly is a kind of looking to other people as well for support, because 2s are about partnerships, about pairs. So it could well be that a way to get there is to look to your loved ones, friends, family, partners, if you have them, for support to help you get there. So I hope you've enjoyed these cards of the day, and I will definitely be endeavouring as I'm able to continue to do these readings, and bring this sort of my take, if you like, on things to you as the weeks and months ahead progress. Please feel free to leave me some comments and let me know how these themes interact with your day today, and perhaps let me know how your week has been. Have you had a really difficult, challenging week as well. As always, please feel free to check out my website, www.theseerscave.webs.com, for more information about myself, my tools, and the readings that I offer. I want to wish everyone a really happy, optimistic, and faith-filled day, where it's really not too hard for you. Things progress through, and you're able to get to your rebirth. And I want to wish love, light, blessings, and frith to you all.